Hey, all my sexy subscribers, and welcome back to another Real Tony Starks Productions. I'm sorry, guys, I've been kind of radio silent for the last couple of weeks. I dropped my review of The Last of Us episode 1, I believe it was around 2 weeks ago, and I never came back last week and did episode 2, and I'm sorry about that, guys. I was very busy last week with work and life and stuff. I'm sure you guys know who it was, but let me just tell you, I watched, as I currently record this video, it's just recently turned to the 30th of January 2023. I watched The Last of Us episode 3 yesterday on the 29th after it airs here on Sunday nights around the same time it does in America. For us, it's 2 a.m. For all you Americans, that's 9 p.m. And I must say, the last two episodes of this show has me completely enthralled and has been absolutely incredible. Let's first start off by talking about episode 2, since I never got a chance to talk about it before. All I can say about that episode is I loved every single second of what I watched, from the minute they introduced the clickers and everything that they had, down to the details of the games, like them with their little backpacks that stored all their supplies. And guys, I even loved the backstory that they told that I don't believe was actually in the game, about how the infection spread among the people. It's shown a little clip showing you how the infection spread through people's food, especially through the likes of like flour and the stuff that you eat. You put in ingredients that transfers through to the food you eat, and that's how the first people got sick and they all got infected. And if memory serves me right, I believe that is something they specifically added in for the show, which I was a massive fan of, because the game talked about it, but it never actually shown you how the outbreak started, how all these people got infected. But the TV show actually did, which I thought was really cool. But the big thing, well, actually no, two big things in episode 2, which is spoilers for all you people who, if you haven't played the game for some reason. The Last of Us, the first one, came out roughly about 10 years ago this year. It came out in 2013, so if you haven't played the game, first off, why are you watching the show? Because the show is based on the game, so that should already be massive spoilers. Stay away from the show until you complete the game, and this video is going to contain spoilers if you haven't completed the game, so please click away now. But guys, the clickers in the show blew me away. The aesthetics, the CGI, everything of the clickers was absolutely terrifying. And Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal have recently stated in an interview after that episode dropped just last week that they actually went through that experience. The clickers were actual real life people, and like full on makeup, like the kind you see the guy, I can't remember what his name is, Jamie Bauer, I think his name is, something along those lines, that was in full blown makeup and costume whenever he played Vecna in Stranger Things. And I thought the attention to the detail and the clickers was absolutely phenomenal. From the minute they appeared inside that museum, I just thought, holy shit, this looks so much like the game. And I understand that Neil Druckmann, who actually helped make The Last of Us games Part 1 and Part 2 that released there 3 years ago, is actually having a massive influence on the TV show, as he's a massive part of it, and he has a massive input in all the things that have been put in the show. And it comes across that way because you can see the mass amount of attention to detail that they've put into it, from the clickers and all the stuff that they did, that having them cross the buildings on the wee planks of wood that they always would do in the games, which I thought was a really cool, something very small, but it's just that sort of attention to detail that people like me really love. And then obviously they had the ending where Ellie found out in the Capitol building that Tess was infected, and Tess said that the condition Ellie has, this is serious, because she had got bitten an hour ago, and she was already worse than Ellie, who got infected 3 years prior. It was either 3 years or 3 months prior. It was one of the two, and she left her cell in the Capitol building, and it was very different to the game as well, because she didn't just straight up get shot by all the military men. She ended up getting having a really uncomfortable make-out scene with one of the infected that passed the virus on down through there, which essentially killed her. And the episode ended with Ellie standing outside uh, the Capitol building in the background after the death scene. And I thought that was just such a cool episode. I loved every single minute of it. And then we move on to episode 3, which is this week's episode. And Bill and Frank, I absolutely loved them in the Last of Us game. I thought they were such cool characters that didn't deserve to be killed off so early. But the interesting thing, actually, about the TV show compared to the game is, in the game universe, Bill actually never died. It was just Frank. He became infected and ended up committing suicide because he didn't want his partner Bill to succumb to the same fate he did. But in the TV show, they actually did it very differently, where your guy that plays Frank, I can't remember what his name is, ended up saying to Bill's character, Nick Offerman's Bill, that he didn't want to live without him. He couldn't live without him, to give him the best last day ever. They ended up getting married, having a wedding in the house and doing this whole thing. He cooked a meal for him, ended up wearing clothes he wanted him to wear, which I thought was really, really cool. And then the big thing at the end of that episode was whenever he told him to crush up his pills that he'd been taking for his condition and put them in his wine glass. And put them in his wine glass. He ended up actually killing them both, because Nick Offerman's Bill actually had a very indicative speech. I don't know if that's the right word. I hear people use that word a lot. I'm not entirely sure what it means. So I'll just say it was quite a powerful and inspiring speech. Maybe that's a better word. It was a very powerful speech where he basically said that he did it because Frank was his partner in crime that he had spent all these years with. Frank ended up trying to break into his bunk, trying to break up into like his territory, and they ended up getting caught in one of Bill's traps, and they ended up living together for many, many years, and it ends up showing you them in the current modern day of 2023, and it ended up showing you them both dying together at the very end. And I thought it was really cool how they had Ellie write out the letter that he had on the table that said on the envelope, to whomever, but probably Joel. I thought that was really cool how he mentioned in the letter that it was most likely to be Joel, because he was the only one that could have the keys to bypass his traps because of his previous encounter with Bill and Frank before he was there with Tess. And anyone else, if it was the militia or any of them ones, would have ended up falling victim to his traps and getting burnt alive. So I just thought that was really cool. And then at the end, whenever Ellie refused to read the end of the letter, whenever he basically said to raid his house of all his weapons and his supplies to keep Tess safe, and Ellie refused to read that part of the letter. And then Joel took the letter and said, if there's 3 ground rules, you never talk about Tess. What I say goes, and you never tell people that you're infected or they will shoot you on sight. And I thought, this is such a good episode, because it gave us such a good backstory about Bill and how him and Frank met and how they got together. And I thought that was a really cool twist at the end, where despite the fact they survived in the game, they actually had Bill die in the show, which was a very powerful, impactful scene. And I even mentioned the letter saying to Joel, don't come into the room, we've left the window open to let the smell out. And then Ellie ended up, whenever they were raiding the supplies, ended up stealing one of the guns out of the drawer, because whenever they were down in the wee cellar part where Joel had all his security, or not Joel, where Bella had all his security, that she needed to be protected, and Joel basically was being the protective dad type that we all know and love him to be, saying, absolutely not, you stick by my side, you have no need for all that, and she went behind his back anyway and took the pistol out of the drawer and has it in her backpack, unbeknown to Joel, which will obviously be a massive plot coming up in a future episode whenever they still have Henry and Sam and all these other characters they've yet to introduce. Um, so yeah, guys, last two episodes have been absolutely phenomenal. Can't say enough good things about the Last of Us TV show. I'm absolutely loving it so far. It is absolutely amazing. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch it, but don't watch it until you've played the game first, because I feel like if you play the game and watch the TV show, then you'll have a whole newfound appreciation for it. So, and The Last of Us is one of the best storytelling games I've ever played, best zombie game I've ever played. So it'll definitely find a way to tug at your heartstrings. So if you haven't played it, trust me, you want to play it. So yeah, as always, guys. Oh yeah, and I also want to mention one last thing. I thought it was really cool how Ellie mentioned the whole thing about the 80s song, which was a callback to episode 1, where she thought that it meant danger, but in reality, the radio basically was telling them that Frank and Bill was already dead by this point, and I thought that was a really cool little attention to detail. So yeah, thanks as always, guys, for watching. I hope you all have a lovely day slash night wherever you are. I hope you're keeping well. And like I said, I'll try my best to keep this a weekly thing. Sometimes I may slip up and it may become a bi-weekly thing every 2 or so weeks. But just know that the reviews for this show will keep on coming. But some weeks there might be a space in between them, like 2, 3 weeks in between reviews, because I do get busy with life and work and all that sort of thing. So yeah, as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. I will see you all in the next one. Love you all as always. And yeah, peace out.